weather there. And I'm so grateful you're here with us this morning. Thank you, Sam. As we light our chalice, the symbol of our free faith, with the words of Elizabeth Sally Jones, in the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Our children aren't with us this morning. I think they've abandoned us already. But we will sing our hymn of the month, When Your Heart is in a Holy Place. And if you'd like to stand and sing, that would be great.
This is my first time getting to speak from Catherine's booster. And I'm so proud to be so tall today. Yesterday, working with an earnest and committed team of Hope folks, we were inspired by Reverend Samantha, and she's here to support our health and our growth. So I wanted to share a little bit of that experience with you today, and I thought I'll do it in a poem. Now, so my rhymes work, I must say. Some of us call this the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, and others say UU Honolulu, and others say FUCH, but some of us say FUCH. So, here we go. Today we gather again in force to welcome Reverend Sam, of course, to hear her deep and heartfelt words of complexity which undergirds our church and our beauteous selves diverse, to welcome us and not coerce, inviting each to take on roles, to explore new ways to open souls. She brings no slogan, hype, or merch. She's just here to help us grow our church in faith and truth and health and such for us and our beloved FUCH. So listen now and love our fate, us with our Reverend Sam on this dream date. To work to grok layers of true. Mahalo, Sam. Mahalo, you.
So let's join together in singing Where Do We Come From? And there are 4 parts to this song. We'll sing each of them twice. And once we're done, we're all going to sing them all simultaneously. So just find your favorite. Okay.
Good work. We are indeed a singing congregation. I'm impressed. Very good. Oh, I forgot to get you a little slide. Let me see if there's anything in here. So busy singing. It's not here. Oh, the Book of Life. Anyone sing the Book of Life? Oh.
You should go with the online ones.
I shall, but it would be nice. I guess no one has written it, and if we can't find it, someone's still writing. You know, we had a cleaning party yesterday, so obviously it got cleaned. So this church is our place to experience the depth of life together. The book that we can't find stands for our lives we share within our beloved community, and we share within our beloved community. Some of us have joys, some of us have concerns, and others know they put them in the book, or we know that we can share them with each other after church in the coffee room or with our beloved minister, Reverend Deb. And we have some really, we have a lot of concerns, and that's troubling. Martina Queef writes that her brother, who lives in Turkey, is asking for healing thoughts as he faces serious health issues. And Martina shares that he doesn't usually ask for help. So the fact that he's asking for help means this might be really serious. And so let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. We also have a concern. You've probably noticed the last few weeks our choir director Thomas has not been with us. And his wife Abby writes that they have joyful news that Abby's last test resolved her breast cancer scare, so that's the good news. But that Thomas has been dealing with a neurological disorder that has worsened, and the lack of available medication is the concern. This has been disturbing his sleep, his life, and his work here leading our music program. And their son Benji has a rare brain tumor. And it was surgically resolved 5 years ago, but it's back, disrupting his work, his PhD completion, finances, and just his life. So let us hold this family of 3 in our hearts and hope for restored health. And our Reverend Deborah shares, she says this is both a joy and a concern, that her beloved older sister, who guided her and her siblings, and is a much revered surgeon, has suffered from Alzheimer's for over 20 years. It's been heartbreaking that she has suffered for so long. She's just entered hospice care at home. We're grateful that she has lived in comfort and love all these years, and that she may soon find relief. I also want to add a concern for our beloved Gabe, who has not been with us for a while because he has extreme asthma that is made worse by the fog and this wonderful weather. And then on top of that, he caught the cold that everyone is getting. So Gabe, if you're listening, we sure hope you get well, and we send you all of our healing thoughts. On top of that, we have some joys. We had a work party yesterday. That work party, they washed the windows. Thank you, Juliet. And her friend, she recruited people to wash windows. I can't believe it. Anyway, they did these windows. They did the windows in the gallery. They did the ones behind that are covered by curtains. You can't even appreciate that. But what a difference that makes. And we also moved the piano, you noticed, I think. And we cleaned out the cupboards and all the stuff that, we had stuff stored in the fireplace. That is all cleaned out. The kitchen got a good cleaning and a whole lot more that I don't even know what happened. We had a bunch of people here doing it, and we couldn't go outside, so luckily the inside got a good cleaning. I also want to share the joy of our Kapuna Owl program. There are, I don't know, over a dozen of us that are meeting on Friday afternoons to learn about old age and sex. And what that means is, did you know we have scripts about, even at this age, about what that means for us and what it's been meaning all these years, and we're not even aware of them. So we're getting to be aware, and it's just eye-opening. It's just wonderful, and thank you, Nan Kleiber, for getting this together. So now please take a moment to recall the joys and the bitterness and the sweetness, the concerns and joys of life. They remind us to live these days together. The brave adventure and the holy understanding we share in this journey echoes today, as they always do, in their book of life that's missing and in the hearts we bring to share here today with each other. And may it always be so. Jim.
Oh, thank you for that heartfelt introduction. I'm here for a testimonial that concerning the Hope for Us program. Many of you will remember that a year and a half ago, we had an extensive workshop in which we examined what has been good in our church, what has been problematic in our church, and we came up with loads of different issues that we needed to address. There was a committee of 6 that got formed to further explore these and lay out a path forward as to how we were going to address them. I happen to have the honor of being one of those members. Our original thought as to what we were doing was, we were going to do a very thorough analysis and find out resources and so forth as to how we could move forward with these. What we found out in the several-month operation of our group is that the process was the solution. We found that in the process of our meeting together and dealing with these significant issues about ourselves and our congregation, that we experienced a new appreciation for each other. And our immediate feeling was, we need to export this to the rest of the community, that we all need to have that same experience. We also produced a report, which you should be able to access on our website. But we felt that was the main lesson that we got from it, was in the small group was great power and love that we experienced. And now, and I should back up and say that the Hope for Us program was thought seriously by a couple of boards of the church, and we spent a significant amount of money to bring it here by a wonderful donation from a couple of our members. And when the year was up in which our program had terminated, we had a one-year contract with Hope for Us, and we were looking to how we, as a congregation on our own resources, were going to move forward to do what we felt we needed to do. But UUA decided that we had made such progress and they wanted to support us that they re-upped the program. And that's the reason that Reverend Sam is here, with no cost to us. And so now we are moving forward with the second stage of Hope for Us. And there's going to be, over the next couple of months, a new program that will extend what we experienced, we hope, to the rest of you, or to a significant proportion of our congregation that is able to participate and so forth. So I highly recommend, if you are able, to join in. And that's my message.
Thank you, Jim Wood, and I'm sorry for the lack of introduction. How fortunate we are to look at suffering in our world and to provide some relief. It's a privilege to give our whole offering today and every Sunday to people and causes who benefit from our loving concern. This month, we're supporting RISE, the residential youth services and empowerment. RISE operates an access center on the windward side where Hawaii's street youth are assessed and referred to appropriate support services. Youth ages 14 to 24 have access to a safe, temporary living space specifically designed to address their unique needs. The Access Center offers coordinated programs and services to build a path towards reintegration into mainstream society. When the calabash comes by, please give. We can also use the QR code that's going to show up on our screen momentarily. It's not going to show up because it's on the back of our order of service.
Not today. It's not.
Okay, we missed that too. All right.
Go on the website.
You can go to our website and donate there. And we apologize to RISE. We're going to blame it on the weather. So please give freely. And thank you in advance.
We'd like you to sing along on this song.
Mike's not on.
Chorus. Are we not on? It's on. We'd like you to sing along on the chorus of the song, so I'm going to teach it to you right now. This boat is steady, this boat is sure. When you're ready, climb aboard. Try that with me. This boat is steady, this boat is sure.
like open the sermon, and that's a sign, okay? All right. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you. I want to tell you about my grandma. So I had one grandparent that I was close to. In my family, there was a lot of not being close to each other, a lot of disconnection, a lot of disownment, but I had one. I got one good one, and she is my ancestor. And she was the one that was convinced that I had to be a minister. And when she was in assisted living and the chaplain would make their rounds, she would shoo them away. And she would say, I already have a chaplain. And I would have to tell her, Grandma, that is so inappropriate. But my grandma was a rockette at Radio City Music Hall. So my grandma didn't care what I thought was appropriate. And she promised, she wanted me to travel, and I remember going on a trip, and she was at the end of her life, and we would meet regularly to talk about what it was like to die. And she told me, I want you to go on your trip. I want you to go on your trip. And she said, I promise not to die while you're away. That woman died the moment my airplane wheels touched the ground when I came home. The first phone call was the call from the assisted living and my mother. So it's 2020, 3 years after her death. It's the beginning of the pandemic. I'm feeling miserably alone. It's those bursts and bumps of us trying to figure out what it means to live in a pandemic together. And we're getting all these mixed messages about what we should or shouldn't do. And I am 8 months pregnant. And in that, Massage Envy sends an email saying, please come get massages in these rooms where we are doing the air filtration systems. And I am 8 months pregnant. So I said yes. My boyfriend and I go sign up on Massage Envy. We're going to go get massages before this baby comes. We're living in Tucson, Arizona, and it is almost June 2020. So we set up the appointments, we're taken to our separate rooms, we shuffle in. My boyfriend loves to talk to therapists. Thank you, Teresa. What you can't hear on Zoom is Teresa just went, exactly. I don't want to talk. I want to fall into a deep, restful slumber of trust. And that's what I do. I go into my room, I fall asleep, but little did I know that in the room down the hall, my boyfriend is talking to the therapist, and the therapist says that she is a medium. Now, if it were me, I would not pursue this further, but my boyfriend, my now husband, loves the adventure and says, that's great. My wife is a minister. My girlfriend's a minister. She said, oh, okay, well, I want you to know that someone is here. And she begins to describe a woman with red curly hair and big green eyes and overstated glasses. And this masseuse says she is your grandma. And my boyfriend says, that's not my grandma. And then the masseuse says, she says her name is Maggie, my grandmother's name. She calls my grandmother by name. And she wants you to know everything is going to be all right. My boyfriend bolts out of that room, finds me shaking, and tells me that my grandmother visited him in a massage parlor, which, as stated, my grandmother would do, even from the grave. But here it is. I did not learn how to work with ancestors. So I am a lifelong UU, which means I have mostly been left to my own devices to figure it out. What does it mean when we die? And I ask you to resist with me just in this moment, putting any need to figure out how it happened. And join me in the wonder that it did. And for me, the question more important is, then, how did it happen? Why did it happen? What is the metaphysical mechanic of how this person calls my grandmother by image and name to this person? I don't wonder about that. I wonder the question, will I let it change me? Will I let the encounter change me, even if I can't explain it? But here's what changed me. What I noticed changed me now is I can't stop talking to my grandma. And I feel her when I'm here in Hawaii, when I see a beautiful flower, when I eat a delicious chocolate cake, when a woman wears oversized, bedazzled glasses, when I'm caring for my granddaughter who only wants to be a singer and dancer. That I feel her. I can't explain it. I have tears in my eyes. I can't explain it. But once I let it happen, it changed me. And what I learned from the visitation is that the only person who deadened my grandmother was me. I'm the one that made her truly dead, and that making her dead did not enlarge my world. It made it smaller. So I have another story. At one point in 2015, I was invited to a multiracial, multi-faith delegation to Japan. And I was there on the 70th commemoration of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And we were brought together by the tattered remains of the Fellowship of Reconciliation in Japan. Elders in their peace caps and their jean jackets, ready to sponsor young adults from the United States to come and stay in the hostels. And we had a very small delegation on a very scrappy guided journey. And we went to both commemorative ceremonies, and we went to Okinawa to meet activists at the base. We went to Fukushima to see the farmers who were grappling with nuclear fallout. And I was there partially for my doctoral fieldwork, because I was wondering, how do you be accountable for ancestral harm? Now, one side of my family is a military lineage. My childhood, my grandparents, even my life was paid for by my father's work in the military. I am this lineage. It is me. So I felt an ancestral tentativeness about claiming the mission of a peace effort in Japan. So as part of my preparation, I was reading a book by one Japanese thinker who was an ethicist and second-generation survivor of the bombs, Yuki Miyamoto. And she writes specifically about how we have ethical dialogue with the dead. How do you have ethical dialogues with your dead? And what is an ethical relationship to memory? And she said the most important thing for the ethical relationship was that it was dialogue-based. One in which we stop seeing the dead as it, some object to be acted upon, but instead see the dead, to see our memory as a community to be in conversation with. She says, your capacity to be in dialogue with the dead will directly influence your ability to have love among the living. Say it again. Your capacity to be in dialogue with the dead will influence your ability to have love among the living. And she knows this because she is from the body of a survivor. Right? Her mom survived the bombs. And part of the activism that we visited and sat with in Japan is that these keepers of the story, the hibakusha, they're storytellers and memory keepers. And yes, some are paid by the government to keep telling the story of what happened for as long as they are alive to do so. And there's cultural realities to that that are far beyond my understanding. But in my experience of sitting knee to knee with them in Japan, listening to their testimonies, they all begin with one thing: an apology. Survivors of the bombs start their storytelling about surviving with an apology. And they start in apology and in recognition of the harms perpetrated by the Japanese imperialism and war crimes. And then they move into a testimony of their living experience of the bomb. And they offer this without blame or shame. Without blame or shame, they're just inviting you into a dialogue of lived experience and their own accountability. So there they are holding it in their bodies. There's someone who sees themselves as capable of causing harm, even if by their own government, and also someone directly impacted by harm, and they resist an easy decision between who is good and who is bad, and who is the victim and who was the villain. They're doing it right there in their bodies. And although the bomb survivors are not required to do this, of course, one study finds that those who are thriving and living into their old age are the ones who choose to do so. What do we make of that? What do we make that the people who are living through it are the people who to the end will sit with you knee to knee, the American who shows up from the military family and says, "Here I am." What does it have to do with church conflict? No, I admit, watching complex accountability from a hibakusha makes church conflict feel a little small. And maybe it makes our resistance to a complex dialogue about our past feel possibly small as well. One of my inspirations and educators that I love, an Indigenous leader, Vanessa de Oliveira, says that our efforts to avoid accountability, to stay as innocent as we can, are often cute and pathetic. I see myself that way, not in shame or blame. I see it the way that I see my 5.5-year-old daughter, with a compassionate gaze at my fallen down self. And that question, who gets to decide the past and who's accountable for the present and which story is true, is the question we're asking ourselves right now. The fights over textbooks and history and representation and truth, the renaming and the rebranding of our current administration to erase the narratives that are complex and make them clean and simple. Who is good? Who is bad? So where else should we be practicing something different if at the national level it will be needed as soon as possible? How else do we learn it than by starting in the communities we belong in? Who else is willing to practice it with us besides the people who show up on Zoom or come here in the rain on Super Bowl Sunday, right? So over a year ago, your board, with great care, invited Hope for Us, the UUA's conflict program, to partner with you. And it was a huge risk. It was a huge risk because your experience of inviting in outsiders to support you has not always gone well. It was a huge risk. But it began, too, with over 30 one-on-ones of your core leadership and people as well who left the community due to conflict. And in my conversations with you, the vast majority of you did not locate your current issues as being solely of the present. The majority of you wondered about the moments in the congregation's life when things got a little lost or a little frayed along the way. Not entirely broken, still beloved, but a little bit more fragile, a little more tender, a little more harsh. And maybe the thing that got lost was a sense of mission or a sense of purpose or a sense of identity. Maybe it was a sense of trust for each other or ministers or the denomination, or maybe it was a loss of trust that disagreement could be handled openly and well. or percents what got lost was a sense of mattering, of believing that your experience of something mattered, and that what you experienced would be taken seriously by the people around you, no matter who you were. Ray Deal is a Dene leader in the Navajo community in restorative justice. And he talks about how we become fully human to ourselves. The only way through which to become fully human and fully alive is to go back to any place you lost a little bit of your soul along the way. And in his own life, as an Indigenous person and Vietnam veteran, his healing journey included physically going back to Vietnam. He describes it that he literally had to go back to the land, the place of the soul wound. And some traditions call this soul retrieval. It's a full practice. And to me, this is just another example where we refuse to make the world dead. We refuse to be transactional with it, to keep a ledger book of what I gave and what you gave and what I was owed and what you were owed, and to instead burn it into a whole scale, whole shebang relationality with the world. Ho'oponopono practitioners also say this. To solve any single one thing requires that the individuals recognize their relatedness. And the image is the snarled net. You have to bring the whole extended family together, untangling and unsnarling the net of relatedness towards not just a nice solution, not just the feeling like something was dealt with, but a far more robust sense of right relationship with each other and the whole of life. And this is the thing we're trying to learn at a community level. What does it look like for a community, not just an individual, to retrieve its sense of soul? And my own commitment to work at this level is about not settling into cute workshops and little books and easy fixes and false peace, but about being people of faith, committed to being good at untangling nets. So last year we had a community dialogue to identify the problem as the problem, and a smaller team gathered, and they learned, as Jim stated, that it was the process of being together that changed the people. And then in November, Reverend Sunshine, Reverend Sarah, and I came back, your UUA regional staff, to explore what it would mean to go further. And 25 of you wrote to me and gave me feedback. Thank you. And in your descriptions and your nominations, new leaders emerged. Martina Quinth, Mary McKay, who's online, Jim Wood, and Peg Neva are part of the new team. And they'll get continued to be supported by Nan Porterfield and Carla Allison and Laura Gomez and Crystal. But this process involves gathering a smaller 20 or so person circle of you who are willing to be with the elder that is the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. This elder turns 75 years old in 2028. And in service to the birthday, we want to gather a circle of you as dialogue partners this spring so that we sit with the past and ask how the past impacted us in the present. We're going to let the dialogue with this place and its ancestors support us in talking about what has happened in the last 5 years. And we're going to trust that our capacity to be in dialogue with the past will influence our ability to have love among the living. Now, raise your hand if that sounds like a bunch of woo-woo jibber-jabber. Okay, I like the honesty. It is. You know what? I agree. I wrote it and immediately thought, you have to delete that. You have to delete that. That doesn't count. But here's the deal. I don't think there are words to explain how one untangles a net of the whole universe. except by gathering your family to do it. And I don't think there's a verbal explanation for the nuclear bomb survivor who chooses to spend their whole life sitting knee to knee with Americans, embodying complex accountability with no guarantee of success. There's no guarantee of success that the person in front of them will receive it or that it will go well. And I have no verbal explanation for why my grandmother shows up and offers her guidance on how to be in the world. There's no verbal language that will get me there. But after the service today, in the talk story, we'll go into a little more detail about the process, and my explanation will still be inadequate. But my prayer is that 20 or so of you, especially those of you who've been through the hardest times, and you know who you are, you're in this room. I actually want to slow down. You have been through it, and you love this congregation. We are asking that you take a risk on the chance. And that those of you who choose not to do it, or for whom this process just doesn't feel like yours to do, please turn your care and support to those who choose to. They will need it. They are doing something on behalf of the whole and in support of its future. And Carolyn, we're so glad you're here. If you are like Carolyn, and this is your first time today and you have no clue what the hell I'm talking about, you are welcome. Here's what I want you to know. Do you mind me looking you in the eye while I say it? She's so fierce. I just feel like we can do it. Carolyn, I want you to know you are lucky. You have chosen a community that in the presence of all the national rhetoric about forgetting and erasing and who's good and who's bad, they are choosing something else, even though no outcome is guaranteed. And you have chosen the right place for the person I think you are. And they will need you too. And in some ways, you are more open and more clear about what is at stake and what's possible because you didn't live through it. You are like my boyfriend at Massage Envy. You are free and open and available and willing to hear what needs to be said. And here it is, friends. And I trust this with all my heart. It's going to be all right. May it be so.
I'm not alone, 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 I'm not alone.
testimonial. I thought of a lot of different things to say. I mean, one thing that happened, we were talking about the next phases of hope for us, and I'm not part of the new team, I'm part of the old team. As Mary says, first hope and more hope. So first hope was great, and what we learned was that it was through a process that we started to connect and really started grappling with whatever were the things that we identified that we needed to do. And then there were opportunities, more opportunities. We shared out what our process was, and then we offered some workshops in the fall, and people participated. And what really struck me was that people kept showing up, and it wasn't necessarily about the content of what happened in those groups or in those workshops or in all those events, but that the room kept being full and people kept showing up, and there was a commitment. And when Peg and I started coming here, 2.5 years ago, or whatever it was, there was a palpable feeling of unrest, and things were in some kind of flux, and we could feel that walking in. But I think that I don't know, maybe we can ask people who are walking in, but I feel like the feeling is different, the vibe is different. And some of that is because of the process and just being committed to keep showing up. So thank you to everyone who keeps showing up, and that includes myself. I keep showing up, even though my inclination is to cut and run when things are hard. But I don't. I keep showing up, and so thanks for doing that.
So, I'm the other part of this testimony. My name's Peg, and I'm reading this because that makes me a little nervous to just speak in front of people. So I'm here to explain why I'm on Team More Hope. Why am I committing to meetings and interviews and more processing of our history, of our stuff, of our mess, of our net? Why would I do that? Well, this church just continues to learn and grow. I think Crystal summed it up really well, of the vibe is changing. And along the way, I've become part of that growing and changing. Old wounds are starting to heal, and new people are joining us as well. Team More Hope is an avenue to renew our commitment to each other by dealing with our old wounds and by building on our collective strengths. I joined this group because I want this church to continue for many years to come in honest communication, appreciation for our authentic gifts, and to reach out to make an impact in the greater community.
You join me in this a spirit of prayer and centering. Just to actually notice your breathing within, alongside the wind and the rain that is blessing this home, this land. We practiced yesterday a compassion practice, remembering someone or some being or some place that graced us with great compassion. And maybe there's someone in your mind, or some being in your mind, some body of water in your mind that holds you in dignity for all that you are. To just let their being come to you in the fullness of your memory. The quality of their eyes, the sound of their voice, the feel of the place. And perhaps this compassion can fill you, and maybe you can imagine it spilling over to someone you love. And maybe further still to someone you're not as close to. And further still to someone that you feel disconnected from. And may this expansive, loving compassion that fills and touches each of our lives, sometimes in glimpses and sometimes overflowing, may it be a blessing to this community and to its work ahead. And as you sit here, stay seated if your eyes are closed or relaxed, and join us in singing our meditation on breathing.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe out. When I breathe out, I breathe out.
It's announcement time. Now we'll share community news and events. So immediately after the service, we hope you'll join us next door in our gallery to enjoy refreshments and some coffee or tea. And then we invite you to come back to the sanctuary to join Reverend Sam and Reverend Deborah to talk story, to share your thoughts or questions about today's service or the Hope for Us program. Carla, do you still have a letter for us to sign?
Yes.
Okay, so
The hearing got delayed, so the hearing's tomorrow. Our signatures and testimony have already been submitted, but I'm still collecting signatures if anybody hasn't signed, because the next hearing we will submit it again, so I'll have that.
okay, so she's talking about the bill for compassionate care. She's prepared a letter, and it's been submitted for the first round of hearings. But this is a bill that would allow individuals with terminal illness or serious debilitating medical conditions to to spend their final days with dignified care in the community instead of in prison. Sounds like a no-brainer to me. So please see Carla after the service if you have not yet signed that letter. If you are ready and willing and not yet a member, but you'd like to become a member, we'd love to have you join. Next Sunday, February 15th, after the service, you're invited to a new member orientation with Reverend Deborah. So let her know if you'd like to join. And in the following weeks, we'll be offering workshops on UU history and faith and how our church works, which will be open to new and continuing members and friends. So again, just let Reverend Deborah know if you'd like to join that. And next Sunday's service is called Intersecting Faiths, celebrating Interfaith Harmony Month with Reverend Deborah. And if you read in our newsletter, she'll be spending part of this next week at a conference or a retreat on the Big Island with a bunch of different faith tradition leaders. So she'll have lots to tell us about that next week.
Our distinguishing words are from Lynn Unger. Through the looking glass and down the rabbit hole and into the wardrobe and out into the enchanted forest where animals talk and danger lurks and nothing works quite the way it did before, you have fallen into a new story. It's possible that you are bigger or smaller than you thought. It's possible to drown in oceans of tears. It's possible that mysterious friends have armed you with magical weapons that you don't understand, but you will need to save your life and the world. Everything here is foreign. Nothing makes sense. That's how it works. But don't confuse the beginning of the story with the end. Go in peace.
Please stand and join in our final hymn. And if you'd like to form a big circle, join hands, we'll sing Hawaii Aloha.